$10 trillion. Yes, $10 trillion between all the stuff. That's not the cash out. That's not the credit card. That's not the HELOC. That's not the businesses that sold. Folks, there is so much money circling around in this economy, trillions and trillions that never should have been there. Rates are going high. This is getting insane. The 10-year treasury, as I shoot this, is literally at 4.7 almost. But there is some good news about rates, so I do not want to miss it. Rates have gone up, but they could be worse because the spread, as I've mentioned in many, many videos, between the 10-year treasury and the 30-year fix that was around 3 has come down. Maybe 20, 30 basis points, but look, those interest rates would be even worse if it wasn't for that. We've got so much stuff to cover this week. We've got war, we've got inflation reports out of control. We got the Fed talking this week. We got housing stats. We just had a pretty good retail print, which is not good. Too much money printed, too much money being spent, and we just cannot figure out if the Fed are going to cut rates. Are they going to do it 3 times, 2 times, 0 times? We don't know. This is crazy times we're living in, but hey, I'm here to help you, to dissect it all, to go through it. And if this is your first time here, welcome back. My name is Kenny Simpson. If you don't know me, if you do know me, let me tell you what I do. I focus on 1 to 4 unit financing. I've been doing it for 20 years, helped over 5,000 clients. So if I can help you, please reach out. But enough of that. Let's get back to why we're here. We got to talk about the rates. We just have to talk about the rates because the rates last week, yes, don't get me wrong. Inflation prints were coming lower. We're looking good in the last couple ones have gone up. PCE is in line with the Feds, but we're talking about CPI and PPI. They came in a little bit higher. When I say a little bit higher, they won at 3.3, it came in at 3.4, something like that. I don't have it in my head, but there's a huge overreaction. And why this overreaction was going on, Iran decided, hey, we're going to target Israel and send like couple hundred missiles there, and that's what happened this week. And so a lot of turmoil. Then we wake up Monday, retail sales are better, the 10-year treasury. And normally when you have a war before COVID, and why I say before COVID or pandemic, before we printed $10 trillion, yes, $10 trillion between all the stuff. That's not the cash out. That's not the credit card. That's not the HELOC. That's not the businesses that sold. Folks, there is so much money circling around in this economy, trillions and trillions that never should have been there. And this is why inflation's out of control. That's just my opinion, but I think we all can agree that why else would there be all this? Who else created this money? Nobody really earned it. When the government just landed and put $10 trillion in, nobody earned it. They just gave it to the system. So, but the 10-year treasury to talk is at 4.7. We were hovering around 4.2, 4.35. We were hopefully not passing 4.35, and then we went to 4.7. The good news about 4.7, and it is good news, is that I remember the spreads are there, but also the stock market does not like high treasury yields. So you're going to continue to see sell off, and hopefully that will push our 10-year treasury back down because, man, we want to make sure the Fed is set up to cut its rates, hopefully here coming in summer, June, July, somewhere around there. But speaking of the Fed, we've got many Fed officials talking this week. Jerome Powell speaks, so we'll see what he has to say. It would be really nice, Mr. Powell, if you would confirm the rate cuts. If you would confirm saying, hey, I'm going to cut 2 or 3. It's going to be minimum of a quarter. This is what I'm going to do. I don't know if he'd actually tell us that news, but it would bring some lovely peace and calmness in our industry and a peace of mind so we know what the hell is going on out there. Because honestly, I don't think anybody knows anymore what's going on because we're all trying to predict, we're all trying to see, but the data is so weird. But we do know, guys, the consumer's not spending like they used to. We do know that some businesses are hurting over others. We do know the job market's definitely shaky, a lot more people getting let go. So we do, if that job market number goes from 3.8 unemployment to over 4, that would definitely spark the Feds to obviously probably move quicker to do a rate cut. So people losing jobs, hate to say it, is what really the Feds want to see. So what do we have going on this week? We had retail sales, manufacturing survey, Fed officials speak, home builder confidence, home housing starts, building permits, Powell speaks, existing home sales. A lot of stuff with home sales. how many got started, how many permits, how many sold. So we're going to get all that data. We do know that we will say real estate's in a recession. That's because we're just not having enough inventory, enough transactions to make everybody whole. On top of that, you got higher rates, you got affordability problems. And on top of that, you got this NAR lawsuit. So there's a lot of stuff going on out there. It was a great long run with all this low rates and people making money. And then now we boom hit with this reality of higher rates. And, we're all just going through it, folks. Whether you're buying, selling, sitting in a house, or in the business, it's just tough right now being in the real estate business, but we're going to get through it and we got to keep pushing along. What else is going on this week? Well, let me talk about taxes real quick because if you're a home buyer, you're going to refi, you're going to buy investment property, whatever you're going to do, let me tell you how the lenders feel about taxes, especially the underwriters. Number one, if you did not file your tax returns, it's okay. Yes, you can still get a loan. We are going to need to see that you did file an extension. And on that extension, if it says you owe money, most likely the lender will say, did you pay in that money? If not, no, they could say, then we're not going to give you a loan. Speaking of, if you filed and you owe money, so if you extend and you owe money, they might want you to pay. But if you filed and you owe money federally, you most likely are going to have to pay that before an underwriter approves your loan or funds your loan. So if you filed and you owe $20,000, $30,000, $100,000, whatever it is, and you go, oh, I'm not going to pay it, I'm going to pay it later, and it's most likely not going to work. Well, hey, Kenny, what if I don't have the money? Are there alternative solutions? Sure. Could we pay it through a refinance of a property? I would have to ask and get an exception from an underwriter. Great question. Oh, wait, you didn't ask. I just assumed you would ask that one. Number two, well, what other way if I can't do that? Could I borrow money from somebody? You'd probably have to ask that to an underwriter. But one of the most common things people do is if they cannot pay it, they just don't have the money, they would call the IRS, they would work something out. It's called a payment plan. But unfortunately, payment plans don't take 2 weeks to get done. They could take months. So if you're going to go that route, make sure you start early before you buy a refi because you could get stuck waiting on that to happen and it could take months. But remember, if you're going to file and you owe, you got to pay to play, and that's what we're going to look for. And if you are self-employed, let me give you a big piece of advice. If you haven't filed yet and you want to buy a home, you want to refi your home, you want to buy an investment property, you want to do anything that requires your tax returns and income, you could always show your banker, your loan officer, whoever you're working with to say, hey, I wanted to buy this house, or I want to buy this investment property, I want to refi. I want to make sure my tax returns look good so I qualify. Because once you file and then you come to me and go, oh, I'm going to amend the tax returns and we're going to change things, underwriters don't like that. So that's not going to work in your favor. There's a new rule in California coming July 2024. July 1st, 2024. They say it's for flippers, but it's called the AB 968. And basically, guys, just to sum it up, what it means is you have to disclose if in the 18 months you owned a home, if you did any remodel, fixing up, flipping, adding, anything, you have to actually put the contact information of the contractor you use. I don't know much about this. You can go look it up yourself. It's very interesting. So we're just getting in a place where we want more and more transparency in these transactions. They want to know who did the work. Were they licensed? Were they not licensed? Look, you could be a homeowner and you did owner builder and you don't have to have a licensed contractor. You can have a handyman or subs, whatever. So they don't have to be a contractor, just so you know. I don't know the logistics about this, but it's something that we need to pay attention to. It's coming up July 1st. I'm sure we'll hear more about it, whether it's good, bad, or other. It is going to be required to put that information on your listing on the offer when you buy a home. What is going on outside that's trending, some topics in real estate that we want to get into that I thought would be interesting to go over. Did you guys see this? Wow. I'm not sure if this is aggressive, this is an overreach, but there is a Vietnam property tycoon owner sentenced to death over a $27 billion fraud case, which is insane. But basically, she defrauded banks, government, investors, the whole thing, stole money, whatever she did. She's going not to jail. She's going to get the death penalty. That's how they do it in Vietnam. This is an extreme case with an extreme penalty. But I was going to ask you guys, do you think people that embezzle, steal, do this kind of stuff with this magnitude of money here in the US, $1 billion, $2 billion, $5 billion, whatever it is, do you think they should spend the rest of their life in jail? Like FTX, he got 25 years. Do you think he should be sentenced to death? I'd like to see what your comments are below because I'd be fascinated to see what you guys think because this is a crazy story. But look, This lady probably screwed up a lot of banks, a lot of people, and lost a lot of people's money, and they're probably in really, really bad situations because of her. Have you guys heard of squatters? Have you literally heard that squatters come into homes in all these states, and there's people talking about the internet and how to go squat in properties? There's people that came across our borders that are going into vacant homes, listed homes, squatting in there and taking residency. And so people are starting to get fed up all over. I know we deal with it here in California. It is ridiculous that people can go. I know people that literally went into and squatted in people's house here homeless, and they stayed in the home. It took them 1 year because of COVID, 2 years to evict people. How is this friggin' right? How can we actually, what? There's a lady, I believe in one state, that went to squatters and kicked them out and used force, and she went to jail, but the person that broke into her house and been living there didn't go to jail. Do we have things backwards? What is going on? So anyways, I think this is crazy. Real estate mogul Sean Beakey, fears that desperate homeowners might take matters into their own hands due to perceived lawlessness. Exactly, that's what happened to this lady. There are legal challenges depending where you live, impact on home ownership. This guy, this real estate agent basically is pointing out the fact that, hey, we need to do something. This is ridiculous. The government needs to get involved. We need to have stricter rules. He's in Florida, and you've heard the recent Florida Governor DeSantis basically say, I don't know the rule, but basically if you're a squatter, your ass is getting out, which is great. Gavin Newsom, did you hear that? Squatters, let's get them out. Come on, Gavin, let's go, Gavin. Let's get them out here. I think we need to do this. Us landlords that work really hard to earn the money to buy this property, and somebody can come in here and just basically squat and live, and we allow it. That's not right. I don't care who, right, left, middle, front, back, whatever you are. Nobody wants this. Nobody likes it. It's a bunch of BS. We need to pass some laws. So thank you to this guy for taking matters in his own hands and starting to make a rant about it. But this is starting to go around, starting to make airwaves and starting to change things. Your grandma, your grandpa, your aunt, uncle, your mom, your dad, guess what, folks? They ain't leaving their home. Let me tell you the percentage that say they're staying probably till they kick the can. Hate to say it. A Redfin survey indicates that 78% of older Americans age 60 plus plan to stay in their current home as they age, while about 19% of baby boomers consider moving to age-specific communities. I did this data over drama thing, and basically I put in there that when you get past 50 and 60, you only move once. So I try to tell everybody's living longer and people are going to move. This is just going to kill inventory. People are not going to sell. Let's go over the reasons. 35% of houses are free and clear. Most of these people have debt. They're locked in on probably 2.5% rates because they have good credit, 3%. They bought so long ago. Their tax bases, whatever it is, they ain't going nowhere, folks. They're not trading up. The only thing they're going to do is 19%. They're going to go to some old folks' homes or retirement homes, something. So this is going to kill inventory for sure. And last but not least, I wanted to go over good old Jamie Dimon is in the news this week. He's always out there. Some of them say he's the best CEO on the planet. I don't know him personally. Obviously, he's running Chase, biggest bank, I think, in the world. He has a lot of influence politically, economically, in the bank world. He knows what's going on. He's kind of was a little doom and gloom. But what he's saying in this article, there's all this bank regulation, Basel III coming out, where they're going to like do this to the banks. And they're kind of like, can you guys stop? There was a banking committee meeting, if you guys ever caught it. They went in front of Congress and all that, and they just said, we don't need the regulation. We lent before, we don't need it afterwards. But what they're saying is if they're going to regulate, they're going to come in and require all this extra liquidity and this and that. Whatever this and that is, as a consumer, we don't care. All it means is that he's going to have to raise your interest rate like almost a full point, 70, like 0.75, 0.8%, almost 1 full point. They'd have to pass the cost on the consumer because they want this overregulation. He's saying is let's simplify it. We don't need this crap because all what you're going to do is you're going to make it even more expensive for the consumer to get a loan and get that jumbo loan. So I don't know. You guys tell me what you think. But anyways, guys, I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you stopping by. If you'd like to reach out, you'd like to connect with me, all my information's below. But hey, I'd love to chat with you. If I can answer any question, no questions dumb. My team and I are here for you. But anyways, until next time, I will catch you guys soon. Have a great week. Peace.